Boy, howdy, was that interesting. The Tigers needing 21 unanswered to get there. Guys, your thoughts on LSU's SEC road opener?
You go on the road, you beat Auburn, you overcome a 17-point deficit, your defense pitches a shutout in the second half, and you only threw for 85 yards in the ball game. When you allow Robbie Ashford to throw for 337, you throw for 85, you're down 17 and you win, that's pretty darn impressive.
It was going to be scary there if they didn't make those defensive adjustments, no doubt about it. Shea, your thoughts on the opener?
They have grit, and they know how to come from behind double digits to an SEC team.
3 times now against a Power 5 team, LSU's found itself in the rears, I guess we'll say, like Les Miles might say. Down double digits, as you said, able to battle back in this one. And it kind of felt like some Les Miles offense there for a while, didn't it? LSU victimized by Robbie Ashford's arm, something that really we didn't think was going to happen. But tip of the cap to Matt House's crew. They were able to get something together and, figure out a defensive game plan in the second half, shutting them out and really keeping LSU in this game with huge takeaways. The Tigers able to force turnovers, something that they've been pretty consistent at all season long, maybe none bigger than this one. Turning the tide, that got the scoring started for LSU, and they would not look back, as we said, scoring 21 unanswered. But guys, Coach Kelly said it yesterday, this offensive performance just isn't going to cut it. This was the biggest play of the game as far as yardage goes. John Emery down, and Matt, I saw you tweet it out. If he would have just followed Emory Jones, he would have walked into the end zone. Is that the play you were talking about?
No, that was the play where they got stuffed at the goal line, where he tried to leap into the end zone. They got in the next play.
Gotcha.
But that was a hell of a run right there, too. That looked like John Emery.
They were dead in the water if not for the B.J. Ojulari sack. Strip sack, Jay Ward, pick it up, return it. I mean, that went from 17-0, and it felt like nothing was going to go right, to all of a sudden it was a ball game. And once again, they've got a little theme, like I said, going. They can close strong in the final couple minutes of a first half, and they can really turn it on in the second half. But we'll dive into it all tonight, I'm sure. But this defense is carrying this group right now.
And Coy Moore helped out a lot as well, which was fun to see if you were on social this past week. But, of course, a lot of the talk has been about that LSU offense and its ineptitude. Coach Kelly talking about needing to loosen up the reins a little bit, almost the anti-Les Miles, putting the ball in danger.
This past weekend was not good enough. That's not going to get you a sustainable offense that can win games at the highest level in the SEC. But that's coaching and that's playing. We have to prepare better. Our fundamentals have to be better. We have to look at the passing game. Are we doing too much? Are we doing the things that highlight our players? And then in turn, our players have to look at themselves and are they preparing the right way? And is there attention to the details?
All right, guys, so let's jump into it. Where do they get going with this offense? How do they jump start it?
I think it's a progression for Jaden Daniels throughout this year. And I don't believe that they are going to consider a quarterback change. We've seen the Garrett Nussmeier experiment, and he just makes too many mistakes. So the way to maximize this offense clearly is going to be finding a way to get Jaden Daniels more comfortable in pushing the ball down the field. Brian Kelly talked about it. He just needs Jaden Daniels to know the difference between being aggressive and being reckless. And the more aggressive he gets, the better this offense will be.
I don't think Jaden wants – I think Jaden's in a groove where he hadn't turned the ball over. And as Brian Kelly said, that's becoming a hindrance at some point. You've got to eventually let it go. But I don't know where we're going with all these different things. We'll get to other topics, but this isn't all on Jaden for me.
We will talk about the drops coming up.
And I didn't think they even got open that often in the Auburn game for how good the LSU receivers are. So does Jaden need to improve? Absolutely. But I think there's a few facets of the offense that have to improve if they really want to be clicking and then keep up with a Tennessee.
Yeah, Coach Kelly talked about that aggressive nature and really walking that fine line.
There's a difference between being on the edge aggressively and being reckless. We're way too conservative right now. I don't want to throw interceptions. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to turn the ball over. We haven't thrown any. But if you're looking to be aggressive, you're going to throw an interception or two because somebody made a great play. Because you trust that you're going to throw it in there. And we got to get Jaden to be a little bit more on that edge. With the skill players that we have, we've got to get that ball down the field, and we got to get it into some tight windows sometimes. They're not always going to be wide open, but those guys can make plays, and we got to get them the ball.
All right, let's look at this LSU offense so far, and here's just some numbers to kind of put it in perspective. LSU 6th in the SEC in scoring, but that 35.5 points drops to just 26 points per game in SEC play, and only one passing touchdown in their 2 SEC contests. They're 8th in passing yards per game, 248 in the league, but only 147, so 100 yards less in their 2 SEC games.
You put a 60 burger on Southern.
Yeah.
It's going to skew the stats.
You can't count it. And despite being great in the red zone, 17 of 23 attempts, they're scoring touchdowns for 73%. LSU just only has the 1 passing touchdown in the red zone. So it is a lot of either feast or famine with this Tiger offense. It's either scoring from afar or it's scoring on the ground. And we've seen a lot of that with Jaden Daniels. And to Coach Kelly's point is that just cannot continue as they go forward. Speaking of continue, when we come back, we're going to be talking about what Shea was just talking about. The receivers, the drops popping up. Is that a problem area or just a one-game thing? We'll chop it up next.
AccuTemp.
Hi, I'm Jimmy.
If you're looking for a hero to beat the heat, call AccuTemp for fast, dependable service. AccuTemp, service to the highest degree.
If your business needs serious hustle, our internet has plenty. Switch to Rev Business All Fiber Internet with fiber optic velocity close to the speed of light. Sign up and get 3 months free and 30% off. Build your plan at letsrev.biz. Let's Rev. Zoom without missing a beat, even if you're wearing shorts and bunny slippers. Switch to Rev Business. Sign up and get 3 months free and 30% off. It's all fiber business internet all the time. Build your plan at letsrev.biz. Let's Rev.
Bear Creek Western Store, it's where the West begins.
Saddle up, boys and girls. This is where the West begins.
Bear Creek has everything you need to tame the West. Boots, hats, saddles, and jewelry. It's a one-stop Western shop for men, women, and children at Bear Creek. New merchandise arrives daily.
Bear Creek Western Store, it's where the West begins.
Did the storm damage your roof?
At Homeway United, our team of dedicated experts will evaluate the damage and work with the insurance company to get the roof you deserve.
We work for you and will handle the claim every step of the way.
Team up with Homeway United for all your roofing needs.
Hurricane season is no time for games.
Models don't do a good job when they don't have a center to follow.
Clickbait, drama, misinformation, all over the internet. But we stick to the science.
Keep in mind, as long as that front's intact, tropical system cannot cross over.
Dr. Josh Eaches and the WBRZ Storm Team. Let others bring the hype. We bring the forecast.
As that cold front pushes through, only allowing for this system to move further to the east.
The Storm Station. Here to prepare, not scare. Now return to the WBRZ Sports Takeover.
Double tight set, throw over the middle to Coy Moore, and it's taken away and intercepted. Coming the other way, Greg Brooks with an INT. He just jumped the route and took it out of Coy Moore's arms.
That Tiger defense doing a great job of takeaways this season, from Greg Brooks to Harold Perkins to SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week, B.J. Ojulari. All of them getting their hands in the cookie jar, but it was hands of a different kind that played the Tigers a little bit so far in this game. Guys, I could think of 2 stone cold drops, but PFF said there were at least 6 in this one. And Shea, you are very excited to talk about the wide receivers and their routes.
I just think if you're blaming people, like Brian Kelly said it, when you do well, the quarterback gets credit.
Sure.
When you do bad, the quarterback gets blamed. And Jaden Daniels deserves some blame. But let's be real here. I mean, the wide receivers dropped however many balls. But if you watch this game again and look at, I watched the All-22 that the ESPN Skycam had, they weren't getting open. The receivers were getting pressed at the line. They weren't physical enough. They couldn't get off of that. More often than not, they were covered. I think people just have this presumption that, well, I see a guy running open all the time. People are always open. That's just not the case in this Auburn game. Now, can Jaden Daniels be better? Can they get on the same page? I think that's what this is about. Anticipation, trusting your receivers, letting it ride, all of that. But make no mistake about it, Auburn. I've watched all these guys they have on their team since high school. They are super talented. there's no reason they should be getting jammed up in a game like that.
Coach Kelly talked about the receivers needing to be better.
The quarterback is part of this. The wide receivers have got to be better at attention to detail. Their routes have to be better. We've got to throw it better and catch it better. There were probably 5 or 6, and you probably can all remember them, where there needed to be a little bit better of a throw and a little bit better of a catch. That also goes to play calling. We've got to be able to look at, are these the plays that we can repeat? And are we doing too much?
I think that's an interesting thing because Coach Kelly said that a number of times now. Are we doing too much? Is there too much on their plate? So it made me think play calling, but I was able to talk with him afterwards, and he said no, he's pretty happy with the play calling.
There's a consensus. What's the most talented group on this offense?
Wide receivers.
We've said it forever.
Forever.
It's
No
receivers.
doubt.
We all agree. That is unanimous. No one disagrees with it. Most talented group on the offense.
Least utilized.
Quarterback is never on this team going to be the best position on the team. So your receivers need to pick up your quarterback. I mean, you mentioned the 6 drops from PFF. Even when Nussmeier went in, Brian Thomas had the ball right in his hand and dropped it. I'm not trying to call guys out, but the reality is there was a 3rd down play where Malik Neighbors had the ball a little behind him, but he got 2 hands on it. Catch the ball, move the sticks. How much different does the game look if you catch those 6 balls? You keep drives going. That's critical. And look, I mean, I asked Brian Kelly about Kayshon Boutte specifically because nobody would have anticipated before this season fewer than 100 yards and no touchdowns through 5 games. So how in the world do they get Kayshon Boutte going?
I think it's a question.
All those guys that make decisions about who the best receivers are in the country are still going to look at Kayshon and go, that's a really, really good wide receiver. Numbers are numbers. At the end of the day, he's going to continue to play this game at the next level, and the numbers won't dictate where he gets drafted. It's his ability to continue to play the game at the highest of levels, and when you turn on the film and he's running full speed and he's beating guys and the ball didn't come to him for some whatever reason, that's out of his control. So what Kayshon continues to do better each and every week is he controls what he can control.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 catches, as Matt said, I think 97 yards, but that was a good, and I have to say, I have to give him a compliment. Kayshon has rebounded from that first week. A lot of positive energy. I've seen it, I've watched for it. I think it's something that you got to at least tip your cap to him.
That's the biggest point. Is everyone sees Kayshon. You see the moment where Jaden Daniels is in Kayshon's ear on the sideline, and you make this assumption. Like, you don't know what those 2 guys are talking about, but everyone within that program has said he's bought in, he's running good routes. Like, Kayshon's fine. Yes, everybody wants him to get the ball more. I think that's the onus more on the coaches to do what they did against Southern. Draw a play specifically to get him the ball.
Slants, anyone?
Like Matt said, he didn't want to call anyone out. Here's the reality, and it's on TV. Everybody can see it. Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Kayshon Boutte know that they are better than they are playing right now. And I think Brian Thomas has had some highlight moments already. But as a unit, those 3 guys are 3 of the best receivers in the country. I have no doubt about it. I saw them in high school. We've seen them come up. We've seen them do it before. So I think this is a team that's 4-1, but you don't look at it like fool's gold in a way where I actually think they could play a lot better than they're playing at 4-1. So receivers are a big part of that for me.
And they're going to get another great test this weekend against Tennessee. Something interesting, just kind of looking at Tennessee, maybe not as stout as we would give them credit for. We'll talk about the Vols coming up after this.
Celebrate Stella Rosa.
You know how far I've gone, now I'm home again. I'm feeling more alive these days than I've ever been.
At the Baton Rouge Clinic, our sole focus is to provide exceptional health care for your entire family so that you can get back to doing what you love most. We are caring for generations.
You give me
A metal roof is elegant, attractive, and adds value to your home. Walker Metals offers 12 popular colors backed by a 40-year warranty against rusting. We also carry Gavaloon Plus, so think outside of the shingles and get a metal roof from Walker Metals. Walker Metals, located just off Florida Boulevard in Walker. Walker Metals is your source for quality metal roofing, siding, and metal buildings. Louisiana manufactured, Louisiana proud.
Hurricane season is no time for games.
Models don't do a good job when they don't have a center to follow.
Clickbait, drama, misinformation, all over the internet. But we stick to the science, the Storm Station. Here to prepare, not scare.
Rosa.
We now return to the WBRZ Sports Takeover.
Josh Heupel's done a great job in a very short period of time of, putting his stamp on this team. It is a fast-paced team.
No doubt about it. The Tennessee Volunteers, an impressive team so far, but I would contend that maybe not as impressive as they are getting credit for based on who they've played, beating up on Akron, Florida already. That was an interesting game. Guys, Tennessee comes to town for an 11 a.m. kick, something that doesn't happen a lot around these parts, and luckily will happen a little bit more often. But chop it up. Let's talk about the Tennessee Vols in your eyes.
Tennessee's offense is great. Their defense stinks. They're literally dead last in the conference in pass defense. We're talking about how can LSU's pass offense get going? Well, the remedy might be playing the worst pass defense in the league. And, oh, by the way, Warren Burrell, a Tennessee cornerback who started every game last year and has started this year, he had an upper body injury last week. He's done for the season. So Tennessee's even down another veteran. So their receivers are legit. You're going to see Brew McCoy, maybe not Cedric Tillman, but we're focusing so much on LSU's offense and the passing offense. If you can't get right with your passing offense against this defense, it just won't happen this year.
Shea, Hendon Hooker is a difference maker, though.
Yeah, he's a big-time player. He's seeing these plays. He's pushing it downfield a good bit. LSU's seen this offense before. Every year when they had just been playing Ole Miss, when Kendall Briles was calling plays. This is the Briles, Jeff Lebby, when Jeff Lebby was calling plays. This is the Briles, Jeff Lebby offense. And obviously, they've got connections there with Heupel to those guys. So I don't think it's unfamiliar. Like, they know what they're up against here. It's just about stopping it. And I think for Matt House, I don't have any reason to doubt him. And the man's halftime adjustments are about as good as it gets right now.
Yeah, Coach Kelly talked about taking on the Vols this weekend.
They're the fastest team in college football. They snap the ball with an average of about 20 seconds on the clock. It's led by Hendon Hooker, who I got a chance to go against when he was at Virginia Tech. He is talented. He's big. He's physical. He can throw the football. He runs it, and he's got playmakers. I think a team that is deserving of their ranking. They've earned it. They're talented on both sides of the ball.
Currently 8th in the country. Shea, you just talked about it. It'll be up to the LSU defense once again to solve this puzzle, but they've done a pretty good job. Coach Kelly talked about the defense needing to get their cleats in the ground and understand the assignment because of the tempo that they play. The Tigers have done a pretty masterful job of mixing it up at all three levels of the defense. You really have to compliment the play that they've had.
Look, I think the one benefit here, and we're talking about an LSU offense with Denbrock and Kelly and fitting these pieces in, I think Matt House's defense really fit what LSU already had personnel-wise and what they got out of the portal. And I think we're seeing it. Ojulari is a jack, standing him up and rushing him. What you can do with Harold Perkins early on, how the DBs have played, a solid pass rush even without Mason Smith. This is a big test for them, but they've faced Look, for me, I'll go back to it. This is no different than when LSU plays a solid Ole Miss offense. And they will go out there and put up 50 on you if you don't play good defense.
Let's take a look at the full screen now if we can and just kind of compare the two teams, LSU, Tennessee, and the tail of the tape going head-to-head with one another. And you can see it. I mean, similar but different, right? Tennessee throws it a little bit better, certainly scores a little bit better. Both teams defend it pretty well and force the turnover. So this is a good game, a good measuring stick game, I think, for LSU.
I think for LSU defensively, you've got to acknowledge Tennessee's going to score. They go fast, they're going to score. If you figure on average 12 possessions a game, just do the math. I know math is boring, but 12 possessions a game, can you get off the field 6 times? and can you force 3 field goals? If you do that, 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals, it's 30 points. Can you score 31? That's your path in this game.
Yeah.
You're going to have to win a game in the 30s. Unless if Hendon Hooker is careless with the ball and turns it over 3-4 times and limits Tennessee's opportunities, they're going to score. You're just going to have to score more. There is a recipe, a blueprint to do it.
I just don't love it. It feels like watching the Saints where you're going to have to outrace them, I guess, and I just don't feel like this offense right now can figure it out. Shea, you got any hope?
Tennessee is bad, bro, on defense. They're bad on defense.
Tennessee's bad on defense, and I think because of that, if LSU gets some points, if LSU starts fast, that's what we haven't talked about. Yeah. They can't start fast.
They can't.
If they start fast, all the pressure in the world is on Tennessee. All of a sudden, the Tiger Stadium crowd's going. You're down when you're supposed to be the big favorite on the road. You're carrying a top 10 ranking. Look, they're coming off a bye. They should have no excuses. They're rested up. They've played a couple quality teams. If they get behind early in this one, I think Tennessee could tighten up a good bit.
We might recall the last time Tennessee came to Tiger Stadium. What a wacky one it was back in 2010.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah, we were there.
I was in that end zone.
I was standing next
box
to Herb Vincent, unbelieving my eyes that this is happening 1 year removed from LSU and Oxford, where Les Miles doesn't have a play designed up in the final minutes. Subbing people on with 7 seconds was incredibly crazy.
I think
it was D'Angelo Peterson run on video, wasn't it?
I think this was the only final scored tweet in my 15 years of working in the press box that I had to delete and repost. Because, I mean, that cut up there makes it look like it happened quickly. Like, there was a gap when they were trying to figure out what they were going to do.
Well, it was Ridley scored the touchdown, but it was, I think, Peterson who ran onto the field late. And then Tennessee tried to sub, and they ended up with 13 guys on the field because T-Bob snapped the ball.
When your own incompetence leads to others' incompetence, is a good feeling.
T-Bob Aber will be celebrated this week, no doubt about it. Matt, thanks for joining us. No Saints this week. We jinxed them last week talking about them. Good Lord, that was awful. Shea, stick around. We're talking recruiting after this.
Your heart and vascular system is at the core of your overall health. Trust your care to Cardiovascular Institute of the South, a world leader in the diagnosis and treatment of heart disease, artery and vein disease in the legs, and heart valve disease. CIS cardiologists offer the most advanced, innovative, and compassionate care for the complete health of your heart and legs. Schedule an appointment at one of our 3 locations in the capital region at cardio.com.
After decades of duplicating, we're going digital, providing our customers with the latest technology and exceptional customer service.
Before, years ago, we just simply used a copy machine to copy, but now we're able to copy and print and scan and email, and that just with one machine. That makes everything easier. Not only do they sell the product and guarantee it, they back it up and they service that product.
Call us now for all of your digital office products. BRDP, experience no one can copy.
At Pearl Dental Group, whether you come in for a routine cleaning or a complete smile makeover, our experienced team will take the time to listen to your needs and provide trusted solutions. From Invisalign to dental implants, we can take care of most dental needs. Ask about sedation dentistry and have all of your work completed while you relax in comfort. Our interest-free payment plans allow you to get the care you need now, and your first exam is free.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andre Bruni.
And I'm Dr. Jessica Bruni.
Come experience the Pearl Dental difference.
We look forward to meeting you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
We now return to the WBRZ Sports Takeover.
All right, Shea Dixon of On3.com joining me right now. Shea, kind of a rough spot for LSU. An 11 a.m. kick, short circuits everything from tailgating to even recruiting visits, right?
It didn't help. LSU fans were upset that the game wasn't at 2:30 or at night as CBS pulled the doubleheader. Then they get pushed to ESPN at 11 a.m. LSU fans are upset about that. The staff obviously wishes the stadium were full, all that, but think about recruiting, and here's how it plays out. When you play at 2:30, when you play at nighttime, look, Brian Kelly, this is a night game here against New Mexico. We've got all the time in the world. We're hanging out with recruits on the sidelines. We're talking to them. Everybody makes it in. All these kids play Friday nights, right? So For them to turn around on a Saturday morning from outside the state, whether it be driving or flying, how you getting to Baton Rouge through all that traffic onto the field to do all that, what you're seeing there, and then taking the game for 11 a.m.? It's almost impossible. So this was supposed to be the marquee game, right, Cauble? I mean, the last time we joked about T-Bob and them, that was the last time LSU was here, or Tennessee was here at LSU. So this was a game they really wanted to kind of hype up with recruits. It'll still be a good visitor list. We'll talk about that, but not as big as it would have been.
So a lot of local kids, like we're seeing obviously Caleb Jackson right there, Sheldon
Sure.
Sampson. It's basically the locals. They do have one official?
There is one official visit coming out of Utah. Tassili Akana, he's an edge rusher, one of the top edge rushers in the country. They've got a really good D-line class already. He's making a string of official visits. Now LSU will be one of them. So that's the lone official visitor, but you saw Shelton Sampson there working out, Kai Preon there. Those guys, are expected to be in Louisiana guys, but notably the other two receivers, Jalen Brown out of Miami, Kyle Parker out of Texas. That's the 4 receiver commits they have. Both those guys are going to be in town as well. So
all right, thank you, Shea. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.